The IMP is the fifth largest banking group in Asian region, having operations in 16 countries across Asia. Matthew has completed post-graduation in data science and machine learning from the University of Chicago and Bachelor of Technology from College of Engineering, Trivandrum. He has over 28 years of experience of innovation, software development, and project management. He is also a certified project management professional and a certified industry consultant. Over to you, Mr. Matthew.
Yeah, thanks, Bonnie, and thanks, Nirmal, for inviting me to this session. So we will get started here. So there are 18 participants here, so we will get started. So I'm sure that all of you are familiar with artificial intelligence, or you heard about artificial intelligence, right? And because this is a topic which is there in the media for a pretty long time, and it's a hot topic and a futuristic technology. We all know that, right? And when we talk about artificial intelligence, what comes to our mind probably the first thing is the driverless car. You know, you are all familiar with or you heard about Tesla, the driverless car, right? So that's one of the newsmaker in the media. And then there is the Sophia. Recently, a few months back, the Sophia robot was in the news for in the global news, in the media, everywhere. So when we talk about Tesla, we can say it's a machine on 4 wheels, or it's a computer on 4 wheels, which can collect data using sensors on the road, and then it can drive without a driver, right? So it can go on the road, it can detect the other vehicles, other cars, which is running in front of it, and it can detect the road, it can detect the signals, and it can detect probably the people crossing the road, and it can go on its own. So which means it is collecting data through different sensors and collecting a lot of data, process it, and making sense out of it, taking decisions, how to move, when to go ahead, when to stop, when to speed up, when to slow down, everything, right? So that's, in short, that is how the artificial intelligence works. And then there is the Sophia, the robot. Recently, it was there in the news. Sophia was on world tour. I'm sure that you are all you all familiar with Sophia. So Sophia is a robot. You can speak to Sophia. It will understand the human language. You can ask questions. It will answer you, right? So again, the audio or the voice recognition, the machine is able to recognize your voice, understand the content out of it, and then give you answers based on the intelligence it has developed over a period of time. And then the most popular or the most common artificial intelligence is on your phone, right? So if you have an iPhone, you have the Siri or the Alexa, or the robotic surgery, which is there, especially in the Western countries. So these are all some of the artificial intelligence newsmakers. I would say it's a newsmakers, which is there in the media. Artificial intelligence gadgets or instruments or machines, and we call it as consumer artificial intelligence, which means you can go and buy from a car showroom. You can buy a Tesla car, or you can buy an iPhone which has artificial intelligence. It comes with inbuilt certain features, right? So that's called the consumer artificial intelligence, right? So I'm not going to talk about consumer artificial intelligence. I'm going to talk about how this technology, artificial intelligence, can be used in our business. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, the first thing comes to our mind as a common man. We may be thinking, oh, this is a technology which is very, it is only meant for big companies like Apple or Tesla or Microsoft, or big companies like, the Reliance, or big manufacturing companies, or big oil and gas companies, Shell, British Petroleum, big companies, right? Or Walmart, or Flipkart, some of these big companies. But you as a SME owner, or you as an entrepreneur, you have a startup company, or you have a medium-sized company or a smaller-sized company, which is probably spread, your business domain probably could be only in the state of Kerala, or you may be having customer base in few other states in India. Or if you are a bigger company, you may be having customers across different countries, probably to the Middle East or probably to some of the Asian countries, or you may be having the customer base across. But still, the question is, can you use this technology in your business? How can we use this futuristic technology in running my business? How can you use this technology to transform your business? How can you use this artificial intelligence to reinvent your business and to transform it? And how? So we are going to talk about how you can transform your business, how you can optimize your business operational cost, or how you can use artificial intelligence to understand the customer base, how you can use artificial intelligence to manage your decisions making, how you can utilize artificial intelligence to define or drive your business strategy, right? So that's the question, how we will apply artificial intelligence into your business. So that's the point of discussion today. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, there are many technology areas in the artificial intelligence. So for example, just to give you an overview, now I'm not going to the details of it, but when we talk about artificial intelligence, it's a collection of technologies, and again, it's evolving technology. So there is predominantly there is machine learning, predictive analytics. So you can predict the customer behavior, you can predict your sales forecast, you can predict your market trend, you can predict your behavior, customer sentiments. So there is that's something called machine learning. And then there is deep learning. Then there is natural language processing, which means you can, where a technology, the computer will be able to understand the natural languages like English or Spanish or Chinese or French, and you can write the programs which will process your natural language. So in the Sophia robot or in the Siri, what we see is the natural language processing, where you speak in English and then the computer or the phone will understand that, right? So that's how that's the application of natural language processing, which we call NLP. Then the speech to text and text to speech. Say the audio file, you can speak to the robot or you can speak to the phone, and then it will understand. So there are chatbots. If you are familiar with most of these online e-commerce websites have chatbots. You can write your query and it will give you the intelligent answers, right? Then there is planning and scheduling optimization systems. Again, it is used in the manufacturing sector. Then computer vision, which will process images, which will process videos, and it will give insights. It will detect the people, it will detect the images, and then it will help you in your business. So a typical example of image recognition is when you upload your, say for example, if you upload your friend's photo to Facebook, immediately the Facebook will prompt you to tag the person. So which means, say for example, a group photo of 10 people you upload to your Facebook profile, immediately Facebook will detect the people there, those who have a profile in the Facebook. Immediately they will say, okay, this is Vinod, this is Arun, this is Nirmal, or this is Boni. So immediately the Facebook will detect, which means there is a face recognition, there is a image recognition software, image recognition artificial intelligence running behind Facebook. That's how it works, right? So these are all some of the technologies. So we are not going into the details of the technology, but we will talk about some of these technologies, how you can apply that in your business domain. That's the question. So when we talk about business, a conventional business, right? So what are the things in your business? So you have the core operations there. Say for example, you have a manufacturing unit. So you will have the core manufacturing operation. Then you have the HR function, human resources, the accounting, the finance, the marketing, operations, sales, all these functions are there. So we can use artificial intelligence in all these domains. We can use artificial intelligence in all these business functions. So we will talk about some of the use cases or some of the success stories in this area, how you can utilize artificial intelligence in these areas. So last week, I was in an important meeting in my office. Okay, so I was meeting few of my customers, executives were there in my office, and my boss was there. Some of the delegates from abroad who came there, and we were having an important discussion. In the middle of the discussion, I suddenly got a call on my mobile phone. It was from an unknown number. I disconnected the call because I was in the middle of an important meeting. After a minute, again, I got the call from the same number. So I thought it is someone who is urgent message, someone who is trying to reach me urgently. It could be something important. So I accepted the call, and then suddenly there's a person saying, "Sir, do you want personal loan?" So somebody from a bank call center calling me asking for personal loan. I got irritated, I got upset because I was in the middle of an important meeting. So I disconnected the call. So I'm sure that this is the kind of experience all of you are familiar with, right? You all get face similar situation. You may be in an important family function, or you may be in a board meeting, you may be in an important meeting, or probably waiting for in a hospital, waiting maybe with a doctor. Some of the important moments you get this kind of spam calls. This is a typical example how you should not be doing business. I'm sure that if you are customer facing, or if you are people who are in the retail, people who are in the insurance, people who are into the banking, everyone is doing this. It's a typical excellent example how you should not be doing business, how you should not be doing marketing, how you should not be doing campaign. This bank, they are spamming their customers. They are sending out the wrong message. They are calling the customers at the wrong time with the wrong message, and they are troubling the customers. They are spamming the customers. When I open my email, I get at least 4 to 5 emails from the different bankers with offers, from the different retailers with offers, concessions, discount offers, everything. And every day, I'm sure that all of you are facing similar situation. You get at least 4 to 5 text messages from the insurance agents, from the banks, from the retailer with that kind of discount, this kind of offers, everything, right? So what every business these days, what they are doing is, all these are in the name of digital marketing. They are sending out, pushing out their products, services to everyone without understanding the business, without understanding the customer, without understanding the interest of the customer. An excellent case of how you should not be doing business, how you should not be doing campaign management. These businesses, sir, they are spamming their customers. And the funny thing is that the person who called me from a bank, I have this bank account with that salary account with this bank for more than 12 years. I have a big amount of money in the fixed deposit in that bank. I have my monthly salary coming every month to this bank. Still, they are calling me asking for 1 lakh or 2 lakhs personal loan, which means they do not know anything about the customer. As a banker, or as a bank, they do not know anything about me. They do not know anything about the customer. This is a typical scenario, typical business problem. And we have solved this using artificial intelligence. So I'm going to talk about how we solve this typical business problem using artificial intelligence in my bank. So we have 26 million customers spread across 7 countries in Asia. 26 million customers spread across 7 countries in Asia, and we have brought the entire data of those customers into a big data platform, and we developed many machine learning models. We've developed many artificial intelligence solutions to understand the customer behavior, customer interest, customer propensity. What is that they want? Who are they? What is their background? Their purchase behavior, their income profile, their demographic profile. Everything we analyzed. And then we came up with recommendations for every customer, personalized solution and service and product for every customer using artificial intelligence. So we built many artificial intelligence solutions in our artificial intelligence lab in Bangalore. And then we solved this problem. So for every customer, we analyze that using artificial intelligence and find out. So for example, if I have a savings account with this bank, what is the next best product which Matthew is likely to buy? So if I have a savings account, which product I am likely to buy based on, so that using artificial intelligence, based on my purchase behavior, based on my income profile, based on my demographic profile, based on how I am spending money, based on that, artificial intelligence, with that, it comes up with recommendation saying that, okay, Matthew has savings account with this bank and he has this many lakhs of rupees in the fixed deposit, and this is his purchase behavior, this is his spending habits, this is his demographics profile. He is likely to do some investment, or he is likely to buy this credit card, he is likely to buy this business loan, or he is likely to buy this wealth products. For every customer, using artificial intelligence, we identified what is the best product for him and which at what time. Okay, and then number 2, this is about the next best product to buy, and the number 2 is channel. So when you are those who are into the marketing or campaign management, you will know that there are different channels, right? These days there are many different digital channels, right? You have the website, you have the email, you have the text messages, you have WhatsApp. People are doing campaign through WhatsApp. Then the online mobile apps are there. Digital banners are there. Then there are different channels are there, and every customer has his own preference, right? So some of you may be saying that, okay, you are okay to receive a phone call from a call center. And some of you will say, okay, I don't want to receive a phone call in my mobile phone. You will say, okay, you send me an email, I am okay with that. Some of you prefer those who are, some people may not be checking emails all the time. They will say, okay, you send me a text message, I am okay with that. Some of you will say that, okay, I have your business mobile app on my phone, and you give me a recommendation or a banner on the mobile app. That's okay, right? So everybody has preferred channels. So for this 26 million customers, using artificial intelligence, we identified what is his preferred channel for reaching out to that customer. And then number 3, the preferred time, right? So for example, I do not want to receive a marketing campaign or a call from any business during my office time. I may be in important meetings, so I don't want to receive a call, but I am okay probably in the evening, probably 7 o'clock in the evening. And some of you may say that, okay, you give me a call during lunchtime, or some people will say, okay, I am okay to receive a call probably in the morning. And some people will say, okay, weekend, probably you reach me on Saturday or Sunday. So everybody has their own preferred time. So using artificial intelligence, we identified the preferred time for every customer, for these 26 million customers of our bank. And then with all these recommendations overlaid, we reached out to every customer with personalized recommendations and personalized messages. Instead of sending out every message to every customer, we identified the preferred customer, we identified the customer propensity, and identified the best product for every customer at what time and through which channel at what time, preferred time. We reach out to every customer. So just imagine how a business, the campaign management is completely transformed. That's the power of artificial intelligence. So if your business is, if you are into business, and if you are into a campaign, if you are reaching out to the customer, artificial intelligence is a solution. You can analyze the customer behavior. So for example, you are into say for example, you are into some kind of tourism service, right? So a customer coming from America or a customer coming from Europe will have different behavior and different expectations. And a customer coming in the winter or a customer coming in the summer, they will have different preferences. A customer who is 50 years old and a customer who is 25 years old, their interest will be different. So based on the different behavior, his demographic, his cultural background, his country, his language, his age group, based on that, you can reach out to him with a personalized message, and you can give him the right service or the right product at the right time. instead of spamming the customers. That's a typical example. Now, that's about understanding the customer and personalizing the service and product. Then the next area is about artificial intelligence is in managing your businesses, in managing your decisions. Now, we know that this is a COVID time, right? So every company, most of the companies are all going digital. Most of the companies, even if it's a manufacturing company, your sales will be digital, your customer care is digital, or your finances or your operations. Many of these business functions you can go digital, and the future is going to be, people are going to be digitally connected but physically disconnected. So that's going to be the future. So in that situation, every company, irrespective of which vertical you are in, you may be in manufacturing or tourism or electronics or chemical or banking or insurance or retail, whichever may be the industry or every business has the pressure or the mandate now to reduce the cost, reduce the operational cost, reduce your spending, reduce your expenses, right? And then so suppose if your board of directors are going to give you, or if you're the CEO of the company is going to give you the direction saying that, okay, you cut down costs by 20% in 2021, how are you going to take the decision? So some people will say that, okay, I have 5,000 employees in my company. I'm going to cut down 20% of the headcount. I'm going to lay off 20% of the people across your business area, across your product segments, across your business functions. That is committing suicide. That is committing suicide. And then you will say that, okay, I have the CEO or the board has told me to cut down 20% of my cost. I'm going to cut down my marketing cost by 20%. I'm going to cut down my campaign management or my media spending by 20%. Again, that is committing suicide. How are you arriving at that decision? That's the important thing. So if the board of directors or the CEO is, you as a CEO of the company, if your board of investors or your board of directors are going to give you a mandate of cutting down your expenses by 20%, how are you going to take that decision? So probably you will call your reportees, your directors, and you will probably call your department heads, and then you will discuss how we will do that, how we will arrive at the decision. Then you will, based on your experience, based on your previous experience, or based on your gut feeling, or based on your understanding about the market, and based on the feedback or the suggestions from your team, you take a decision, which can be correct, which can go wrong, right? That's how we arrive at a decision. So instead of taking that such a random decision, instead of taking a decision, business decision based on your experience, or instead of taking a decision based on your experience or your team's experience, or with your gut feeling, or with your based on your intuition, use artificial intelligence. That's what we are doing in our bank. We take every decision taken by the departments is driven from a recommendation coming out from an artificial intelligence solution. So we have the entire data from the customer, from the market. Say, for example, if you have 10 products in the market, collect all the data, the market data, the feedback data, all the customers, your sales data, everything, and build artificial intelligence solutions and predict. You can predict how your sales is going to be down the line, 3 months down the line, or 6 months down the line. How is it going to be? So if you have 10 products and your market is spread across say 10 countries or 5 countries or 20 states across India, which demographic, which geography, which product is likely to, your sales is likely to improve? Your artificial intelligence solutions can predict that. So you have 10 products and you say that, okay, this particular, out of the 10 products, these 7 products, the sales are likely to increase in these countries. And in these countries, the sales will go down after 6 months. You predict it using artificial intelligence. And wherever your sales is likely to go down, you probably stop your advertisement, or you stop your sales expenses, you stop your campaign expenses, you stop your marketing expenses. And wherever your sales is likely to improve, focus your spending there. Instead of cutting down your marketing expense or sale campaign management expenses across the organization by 20%, take a decision. Your decision should be driven by from a recommendation coming out from the artificial intelligence solution, and focus your there. Focus your energy there. And you say, for example, you have 10 campaigns running in different media. Say you have some television commercials running, you have some print media advertisements, you have some digital advertisements which is running in. Build the artificial intelligence solutions and find out how the response is going to be. Which advertisement is going to be giving you more returns? Which is going to give you more ROI? Focus your spending there. Which is likely to go down? Cut down the cost there. And if you have 10 products, and if you think that if the artificial intelligence solutions are saying that, okay, out of the 10 products, these 7 products, the sales are likely to improve. These 3 products, the sales will go down. You can cut down that 3 products wherever the sales is likely to go down, or you can even stop that production, or you can, that's 3 services, you can probably stop it. So every decision you take, every strategy you make can be driven by artificial intelligence. And say, for example, you have different manufacturing units. So for example, you are into manufacturing and you have some manufacturing plants in 3-4 states in India. So which department or which product is likely to do better? You can predict that using artificial intelligence. And if you are talking about laying off employees, which are the business which is likely to do bad in the future? Which are the business functions where your customer will increase or your products will do better? You can hire more people there. And the business areas or the business product segments where the business is likely to decline, you can think of laying off. Which means every decision you make as a CEO or as a functional head or as a department head of your business, instead of taking a random decision, you can use artificial intelligence to define your business decisions, to take the decision. So every decision will be driven by artificial intelligence. Every decision will be driven by data. So it is data-driven decisions. So that's how you can use artificial intelligence to transform your business, to take your decisions. Use artificial intelligence to define your or drive your business decisions, right? Another area, an excellent example of how you can use artificial intelligence for your business strategy. So as I said, I'm heading this artificial intelligence labs for a bank. And 2 years back, our bank is spread across 16 countries. And 2 years back, the bank wanted to launch their operations into another country in Asia, Southeast Asia. Okay. So you know that how the multinational banks launch their business. So for example, if Citibank is coming to India, there are 2 options for Citibank. One is option number 1. Citibank is a multinational bank and they have a lot of money, they are cash rich. So they can come to India and start their business operations in different metro cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata. So they can go to these cities and then rent out or lease out big offices in the main city, right? At the city center, on the main roads. They can lease out, they can open their branches, they can hire many employees. And then in the phase 2, they will start many branches in cities like Bangalore, Kochi, Trivandrum, Hyderabad or Nagpur. And then, so for that, you have to spend millions to set up your branches. And then you need to set up your ATM centers and you need to have the ATM network. So over a period of say 5 years or 10 years, you set up say 200 branches or 300 branches across different cities. And you set up probably 2,000 ATMs or 3,000 ATMs or 5,000 ATMs over a period of time. And this need millions of investment. As business people, I'm sure that you know that this needs heavy investment. And option number 2, so this is the option number 1 for a multinational bank for setting up their operations in a new country. For example, Citibank, if they are coming to set up their business operations in India, this is the approach they will take. Option number 2. So the second option will be, if Citibank want to come and start their operations in India, they can come and acquire a smaller bank. You know that Citibank is a multinational bank. They are spread across so many countries. If they want to start Citibank in India, they can probably come and acquire a smaller bank like, compared to Citibank, a smaller bank like Canara Bank or South Indian Bank or Punjab National Bank or any of these smaller banks. It is compared to Citibank, these are smaller banks. For that also, they have to spend millions of dollars to acquire this particular bank. And then the moment they acquire, all their branches will become Citibank. And they have 2,000 branches, say 100,000 branches and 5,000 ATMs or 10,000 ATMs. The entire thing becomes Citibank. That is quick. They can do that quickly, but this need heavy investment, millions and millions, right? So when we wanted to, as our bank, when we wanted to expand into this Southeast Asian country, we did not go through these two options. We did not set up branches in different cities or different metro areas, or we did not acquire any branch. Instead of that, we went through a third option where we had a tie-up with, or we had an acquisition of a mobile wallet company. When I say mobile wallet company, an example is Paytm, right? Paytm is a mobile wallet company. So you can use, you can do Paytm transaction for your utility bills, or you can go and buy something from a shop. You can pay using Paytm, or you hire a cab or a taxi or an auto. You can pay using Paytm, right? So all these transactions, we use that. Everyone, it's very common. So a similar mobile wallet company we acquired, and they had the 500,000 customers. We acquired their customer data. We acquired this mobile wallet company with a smaller amount, and then we built many artificial intelligence solutions on top of that data to understand the customer, understand their customer behavior, right? So we built many artificial intelligence solutions on this data, and then found out who is the rich people, who are doing business, who is likely to take business loans, who is likely to take personal loans, who is likely to do heavy investments. We identified the rich people, taking all their data from their social media, from the public domain, who owns it, people who are living in posh locality, people who are living in bungalows, people who own multiple cars, Porsche cars. All this data is taken, and then these are all indicators of who is rich and who are their contacts. With all this data, we identified who are the rich people, and then we reached out to them with personalized messages, personalized relationship managers reached out to them and acquired those customers. And within 14 months, we have grown our customer base from 0 to 2.4 million customers. 0 to 2.4 million customers we acquired within 14 months using artificial intelligence. And we are 100% digital in this country. When I say 100% digital, we do not have any branch in that country. We do not have any ATMs in that country. So if you have an account with me in this country, with this bank, say for example, you have a current account or you have a savings account, it is, you operate it through your mobile app or through digital, through the website. And if you have to withdraw money, you can go and withdraw the money from any other bank ATM, and we give the commission to that bank. We do not have any ATMs in that country. We do not have any branches. So if you have to submit any documents, anything, you can, we have a tie-up with a retailer called 7-Eleven. So you can submit the documents there and they will pass it on to the bank. So that's how we are operating. And we only have an office there in an IT park with 85 employees who are developing these artificial intelligence solutions and who are running campaigns, who are the CEOs and who are defining the strategy and reaching out to the customers. We don't have any branches there. And we have grown from 0 to 2.4 million customers within 14 months. That's the power of artificial intelligence. That's how you define your strategy. Reach out to the strategy. There are super rich business people there, very few in numbers. But using artificial intelligence, we found out who are those super rich people who can do business in millions and millions amount, who can do, who take business loans, who do investments, so who will buy wealth products. Using data, we identified who are the people. And then our relationship managers reached out to them through the proper channel, reached out to them, acquired those customers, and then building the business. That's a different strategy. And when I talk about a bank, I'm sure that all of you are, have you heard of a bank who is not selling credit card? I'm sure that every bank, right, whether it's a smaller bank or Indian bank or multinational bank, everyone is selling credit card. Have you seen or have you heard of a bank who is not selling credit card? I have not heard. But our bank is not selling credit card in that country. You will ask why. That's a decision, that's a strategy we have taken with the recommendation from using artificial intelligence. So when we develop these artificial intelligence solutions on the customer data, we identified, and using this artificial intelligence, we found that the credit card market is in that country is already saturated. All these multinational banks are operating in that country for more than a decade. And the credit card market is highly competitive and it is saturated. And we identified that, and we found that using artificial intelligence, we are not going to make any substantial tangible business in the credit card segment. So we did not launch credit card even today. We do not have credit card business in that country. So this is a very, I would say, it's totally against the conventional wisdom in banking. This decision or this strategy is totally against the conventional banking norms and the banking strategies or the banking conventional mode of doing business. This is totally against that. If you ask any bank manager or anybody in the banking, they will say, if a bank is not selling a credit card, they will laugh. But we are not selling that. Still, we are growing exponentially using artificial intelligence. So this decision and this strategy is driven out from the artificial intelligence solution. That's how that's an excellent case, and that's an excellent story of defining your business strategy using artificial intelligence. Identify the market. Using artificial intelligence, we found that the market is already saturated. The market is highly competitive. For a new player to get in and break in there, it's not going to be easy. So we did not launch the credit card business there. We are focusing our energy in the savings account, in the business loans, investment banking, in the personal loans, in the home loans, and other wealth products. That's it. We don't have credit cards. We don't have ATMs. These are all not heard of in a banking. Nowadays, every bank has an ATM. We don't want that. Using artificial intelligence, we found that owning and setting up a credit card, an ATM network in that country, it's a waste of time and energy. Instead, we have tie-up with every other bank ATMs, and we pay the service charge. That's it. That works out cheaper for us. That's a better strategy. So this strategical decision is taken by artificial intelligence. So that's the power of artificial intelligence I want to put in before you. So when we talk about banking, what's a bank for you, right? So you take any bank, right? A multinational bank like Citibank or Amex or HSBC, Standard Chartered, or a smaller or an Indian bank like South Indian Bank or Canara Bank or Federal Bank. Take any bank, their products and services are more or less same. Everyone will have a savings account, current account, debit card, credit card, home loan, car loans, right? Then the investment, the wealth products. That's it, right? Few of these products. So every bank has similar products and services. So I remember I constructed a house in Bangalore, some 12 years back. I had to take a home loan. So I went to my bank where I have my salary account for the last many years. I had to spend nearly 2 months, more than 2 months, nearly 3 months, going to that bank, meeting that branch manager with all the documents. I had that salary account. I was working with IBM that time. and I had all my salary account there and all my KYC documents, my address proof, ID proof, everything is already given. And they know my spending everything. I have credit card, everything was there. Still, the bank doesn't know about anything about me. So when I wanted a home loan, I had to go there and prove myself again, starting with my address proof, my ID proof, my last 3 years of IT returns, all the legal documents, everything. So it took me nearly 3 months to get the home loan approved. This is a typical case of banking, right? The bank doesn't know anything about you. For every business, every transaction, you have to go and prove yourself. You have to go and prove yourself that you are credible. You have to prove yourself, your credibility, your address, your ID, everything. We have changed that using artificial intelligence. So in our bank, when you apply for a home loan, you get approved within 5 minutes, because all your credit history, all your purchase behavior, all your income history, everything is already analyzed and it's already there. We have changed that. So using artificial intelligence, we transformed our bank into personalized service finance partner. So today, if I'm in Bangalore, so tomorrow morning flight, I come to Kochi, and the moment I am in Kochi, during the bank will know that I am in Kochi, because the bank mobile app is there on my phone, and using my geolocation, physical location, the bank will know that, okay, Matthew has traveled from Bangalore to Kochi, and he is currently in MG Road. And at the time of lunch, I will get a notification on my mobile app, on the mobile, the bank mobile app. I will get a push notification saying that there is a Chinese restaurant near in MG Road, just 200 meters away from my location. Because the bank already has my data. The last many years, whenever I travel, what kind of food I purchase, what kind of restaurant I go and have the lunch, what kind of food I take, everything is there with the bank. And using artificial intelligence, the bank knows that I prefer Chinese food, not South Indian food, not North Indian, not Punjabi, not Italian, whether it's I like vegetarian or non-vegetarian, or North Indian or South Indian, what kind of food I like. So based on all this data, the bank knows that Matthew likes Chinese food. And at the time of lunch, I will get a notification on my mobile phone app saying that there is a Chinese restaurant 100 meters away from my current location. Using Google geofencing, the bank will know exactly where I'm standing. I will get a recommendation. I can go there, have a lunch there, and I can pay using my digital transfer or using my credit card, and I get a 20% discount from that restaurant, because the bank already has a relationship and tie-up with that restaurant, and the restaurant is giving 20% discount to all the customers of that banks, and the bank is passing on that discount to me. So at the time of lunch, the bank knows that this is the preference of Matthew, this is the food habit of Matthew, and bank is giving me the right recommendation at that time. And after that, after the lunch, the bank knows that I go for a shopping. So I go for a shopping. The bank already has the data, what kind of purchases I make, whether I buy dress items or fashion items or sports items or electronic items or phones, or what kind of purchases I make. The bank already has that data. And based on that data, my historical purchase behavior, the bank knows that I like to buy sports items. And the moment I go to there, and immediately I get a push notification or a notification on my mobile app saying that there is half kilometer away from my current location, there is Lulu Mall. I can go there and buy the sports items. I go there and I will get a 10% discount from that showroom, because the bank already has tie-up a relationship with that showroom there. And in the evening, the bank knows what kind of when I'm traveling, what is that I do in the evenings, whether I go for a movie or whether I go for a dinner or I go for a party, or what kind of spending behavior I have. So based on my historical data, using artificial intelligence, bank knows that, okay, Matthew goes for movies. So if it is movies, what kind of movies I watch, all the data is there. So based on my historical purchase behavior, the bank will tell me that, okay, there is a whether I like South Indian movies, whether I like Malayalam movies or English movies or Hindi movies or foreign movies, or whether it's a family entertainer or an action thriller or a comedy movie, or what kind of movie which I like. My preference, the bank already knows. So in the evening, I will get a notification on my mobile saying that there is an there is a movie theater just 200 meters away from my current location. There is English movie running there. I can go and watch there, because based on my previous movie watching habits and my spending behavior, my purchase behavior, the bank knows that Matthew likes English fiction movies. So I can go there, buy the ticket and get a 15% or 20% discount from that movie theater, because the bank already has a tie-up and relationship with that movie theater, and the movie theater is giving discount to all the bank customers, and the bank is passing on that offer to the customer. So from morning till evening, for all my financial needs, the bank is giving me the right recommendation at the right time through the right channel, and the bank is passing on all the discounts to me and helping me in my managing my finances. So this is for small ticket purchases. So for example, purchases, say for example, my lunch may be 200 rupees max, right? Or 300 rupees maximum. Or my movie ticket may be 200 rupees or 150 rupees or 100 rupees. So these are all small purchases which we do on a regular basis during the daytime. And what about the big purchases? Say for example, if tomorrow I want to buy a house in Bangalore, or an apartment, or tomorrow I want to buy a car, there also the bank will know that the moment I start going through the websites of the apartment builders, or the moment I start visiting the builders, the bank will have that information. So if I had to buy an apartment in Bangalore or buy a house in Bangalore, the options are plenty. There are hundreds and thousands of builders are there. I can buy a 2 BHK house for 60 lakhs, or I can buy a bungalow for 40 crores or 50 crores. So there are plenty of options. So the bank has all my data. Bank knows what is my monthly income, what is my monthly spending, what is my how much is my savings, what kind of job I have, whether it's a private job or whether it's a business or whether it's a government job. Is it a stable job, or is it a what kind of which sector I am into, and how much money I spend every month, what is my behavior, purchase behavior, what is my credit history. All this data, the bank knows that. With all analyzed using artificial intelligence, the bank is analyzed all these. And the moment I start looking for an apartment based on my credit history, based on my income profile, the bank will say that, okay, this particular apartment, which is 90 lakhs, is the best for me, because the bank has all this data about me, and bank has analyzed all this data. And the moment I start looking for an apartment, I will get the recommendation on my mobile app, from the bank. I get that recommendation, and I can go and buy this apartment, and I get probably a 2% or 1% discount there, because I have the bank has the tie-up and the relationship with that builder. Say tomorrow I want to buy a car. The options are many. I can buy a Tata Nano to a BMW or any car, Benz or whichever, right? So the options are many. So based on my data, based on my income profile, based on my purchase behavior and my savings history, the bank will know that, okay, this particular Toyota Innova worth say 18 lakhs or 20 lakhs is the best for me. The bank will recommend that for me, and the bank has that relationship with that car dealer, and I get a 1% discount there. So compare this with the banking story which I told initially. Compare this with the conventional banking, where the bank doesn't understand anything about you. For every transaction, for every product, or for every service, even if you had a 15-year or 20-year relationship with your bank, still you have to go and prove yourself with your address proof, your ID proof, everything. You have to go to to the branch, meet the manager, and spend many days, many months to get this approved. From that banking traditional business model, we have transformed the business transformed banking. We have reinvented banking using artificial intelligence into a personal financial partner for every customer. So using artificial intelligence, for these 26 million customers, we identified their interests, their preferences, and we reached to that customer with the right recommendation at the right time through the right channel. And we help the customers in taking their decision, because we know about the customer more than the customer know about himself. I'll repeat that. The bank knows about the customers more than the customer knows about himself. Are you surprised? But that's the reality, right? That's the reality, because the bank knows all your last 10 years of purchase behavior. Bank knows all your income. Bank knows how much is your monthly savings, monthly spending, your credit history, everything. So bank is with that data, the bank is in a better position to analyze that using artificial intelligence and take the right decision and predict what is the best for you, which car is best for you, which apartment is best for you, which home is best for you, which lunch is better for you, which movie you watch. And he will give you the recommendation, and he is helping you in taking the decision at the right time. So you don't have to run around for getting a loan approval. You don't have to run around to find out, evaluate which builder is better, which apartment is better, all that. The bank is doing all that for you. So from a conventional bank who doesn't understand anything about you, using artificial intelligence, we have transformed the bank into a personal financial partner for every customer. That's a transformation journey. So I'm talking about the success story from the bank. The same way, you can transform your business. You can personalize your products. You can personalize your services for every customer using artificial intelligence. That's the future. And that is where you should be targeting yourself for the future. And there is another success story I want to talk about. There is a fintech, there is an agri-tech company where I'm a mentor for them. So what they're doing is they have an online commercial e-commerce website is there, and then they have tie-up with all the farmers. So this is an online marketplace for the vegetables and the agricultural products. So they cut down all the middlemen, and then you can go and just like a Flipkart or Amazon, you can, so there are many websites, right? There are many agri-tech companies are there. So this particular company is using artificial intelligence to predict what product is better for you, which product at which, whether, say for example, you take potato, right? You can sell it as raw potato, or you can convert it into chips, or you take banana, right? The Kerala banana, Yathapuram, right? You can sell it as Yathapuram, or you can sell it as banana fry, or you can sell it as chips, fried chips, or you can sell it as with the sweet and all that. You can sell it in different forms, value-added products. So using artificial intelligence, they are finding out which state, which demographics, which season, what is the demand, right? So they are running it for the last 2-3 years, and then with all that data, they are predicting, okay, this particular chips or this particular sweet product is needed in Gujarat at this particular time. So there is seasonal, so festival time, this particular product is needed. And then the customers will write their feedback on their website, and then they will, so using natural language processing, using NLP, we identify what is the customer sentiment, what are the customer complaints. So for example, the North Indians, the Gujaratis will say, okay, we need the chips with the sweets. Or the North Indians will say that, okay, we don't want the chips fried in coconut oil, we want it in palm oil, or we want it in sunflower oil. Or when you are exporting it into Middle East or the Gulf countries, what kind of product is required, when it is needed, which months, what is the demand. All these are predicted using artificial intelligence. And then they give that feedback to the farmers, and then the agriculture, the farming, everything is planned using this prediction. So that's so the agriculture, you know that it's a very conventional sector, but you can use artificial intelligence for that. And even these people, this company has tie-up with ISRO, and they take digital data of the satellite digital data, and then they are using artificial intelligence. They analyze for every land based on the soil pH value. They recommend, using artificial intelligence, they recommend what kind of crops is suitable for which farm, which land, and in which season, how much, what should be the fertilizer, what should be the pesticide, and which season, what kind of, for every soil, which is the best crops. All these are predicted using artificial intelligence. So I'm telling this agriculture because this is a very conventional, traditional sector. Even there you can use artificial intelligence to understand the soil for the better production of the agriculture vegetables, and then for reaching out to the customer, understand their interests, understand their preferences, what products they want, which what period or when they want which product, understand their customer feedback, analyze that, all that. So all this is used, all these insights, customer insight, market insight, customer preference, everything is you are getting through artificial intelligence. So now the last question will be, so the question for you will be, immediately what comes to your mind will be, okay, I have a traditional manufacturing unit, and you have customers, or you have a tourist package, or you are into tourism operator, or you have some Ayurvedic business, or you are into some kind of electronic manufacturing, or different. It can be different sectors. So how will you apply artificial intelligence? So the first step will be, you need to go digital. So for example, if you are into manufacturing, your core manufacturing will continue to be in your manufacturing plant, but your customer, your sales, you can have online sales, you can have customer data in the digital computer. So when I say digital, it should be in the computer, right? Your inventories, your maintenance data, all this can be in the computer, in the digital form. So once you have all your past historical data about your customer, about your sales, the products which you are selling, about your maintenance, your operations, all this data, once you have that in the computer form, you can have that data in a big data platform. So that now there are plenty of options, right? You have the public cloud is available, the Amazon cloud, the Google cloud, Oracle cloud. There are many options are there. You can procure cloud servers. You just pay monthly basis, or whenever you want, you can procure the server and you can load the data there, and then you can build artificial intelligence solutions to get the insight into your business, understand the customer insight, understand the customer sentiment, complaints, analyze all that. All this you can do using artificial intelligence, and then you can optimize your operations. You can manage your decisions using artificial intelligence. You can define your strategy. You can drive your strategy based on artificial intelligence. So that is the future. So irrespective of the size of your business, even if you are a startup, even if you are a small entrepreneur, even if you are a small company, still you can apply artificial intelligence to run your business. Artificial intelligence is not just meant for big guys like Tesla or Microsoft. It is not. It can be applied for anybody, as long as you can convert, or as long as you can move your data, your business into digital, and either partially or completely. In most cases, it will be partially. You move your data, and then you can build artificial intelligence solutions to get customer insight and manage your decisions and manage your business. So that's the future. Okay, so this is how we apply artificial intelligence into the industrial sector. So any sector you can apply this, so whether it's manufacturing, in financial, or tourism, or retail, any irrespective of the industry vertical you are in, you can apply artificial intelligence to run your business and transform your business. So that's the message I want to pass on to you. So we are on top of the time, so I will stop here for the question answer. So the next 15 minutes we will have an open discussion where you can ask questions, and probably we can have a discussion there. So either you can post the question in the chat box, or you can unmute and speak out. And there is a link which I passed on to the organizers. So I hope the organizers has already given you that link. So that is for capturing the feedback. So please write that's a LinkedIn link. So please write the feedback about this session. You can write a detailed feedback, so that will help me as well. So please go to that link and write the feedback about this session. Thank you. So over to the moderator, so we can have the question answer in the next 10-15 minutes. Thank you.
Mr. Matthew, we have a few questions in the Q&A tab. If you can take them up first, that'll be good.
Yeah, so if one of you can read that one by one, then we can,
Sure.
it will be easy. Yeah.
Sure. There's a question from Anand S. China is using AI for tracking people. Do you think these type of systems like product satisfaction using security cams is coming soon to India? Is the government allowing that?
Yeah, so technically this is possible. You can track anybody and you can capture any data and do that. So it's a responsibility of the government to formulate laws. So for example, recently, the policy changes in WhatsApp, right? So WhatsApp is trying to pass on the data to Facebook, and Facebook is trying to give that data to the customers, to the business people for personalized strategic campaign and all. But they are not launching that in Europe because there is already a data privacy protection law in Europe. So it's a responsibility of the respective governments. And in India, we don't have that law. That's the reason in India they are launching it. So it's a government, it's a responsibility to formulate such rules, such laws, which is violating into the privacy of people. But technically, it's all possible. Everyone can do that. So it's a responsibility of the government to restrict that.
Okay, the next question is from Mr. Roy Alex. Is artificial intelligence, can artificial intelligence be used in the healthcare institutions, not only for territorial hospitals, but also for the primary and tertiary levels of hospitals?
Yeah. So we see, as I said, there is no restriction about which sector you can use artificial intelligence in any sector, as long as you have your business data in a computer digital form. So in banking, we are able to do that because the bank's data is there in a computer. So if you look at 20 years back or 30 years back, you go to the bank, it was all ledger books, right? So they used to write everything in a book, and you fill up the withdrawal form or check leaf and withdraw the money. Everything was in a paper book. Big ledger books were there. Now everything is in computer. That's why we are able to apply artificial intelligence in there. The same way, if you are in the hospital, you have it is all computerized. Say the patient record, then the doctor's rostering, your insurance claims, then the doctor allocation, then the patient history. All this you can use artificial intelligence. So I don't know if you have heard of, there's a solution called IBM Watson from IBM, which is very popular. It's an artificial intelligence product in the healthcare. It's very popular, and in many hospitals like Manipal Hospital, Apollo Hospital in Bangalore, they all have IBM Watson. They are a bigger hospital, but even for smaller hospital, you can use you can build artificial intelligence even for telemedicine. So for example, there are mobile apps which with artificial intelligence built by some of the hospitals. So for a small, it became popular, especially during that COVID lockdown. So you don't have to, for a small disease like a fever or a headache or something, you don't have to go to a hospital, right? So you have a mobile app from your hospital. You can open that, and then a doctor will, based on your symptoms, and immediately you will be assigned to, you are as a patient will be assigned to a doctor, and doctor will hear from your symptoms, and they can give you suggestions, and only if it is a serious thing they will call you to the hospital. So that's called telemedicine. And then then there is something called RPA, robotic process automation, which is very popular in the healthcare sector. So for example, all your appointments, medical appointments, so you don't need to call, you don't need a call center to run in, or somebody operator to do all that appointment. So you have, say, 20 doctors are there from different specializations, and then patients coming, and so automatically you can allocate that using artificial intelligence. People can take the appointment, and then there is a one cancellation or one doctor is going on leave. Suddenly, the artificial intelligence will run behind and then immediately notify the patient about the appointment changes, all that. And then the patient records. So, for example, if a patient is a regular visitor in your hospital for the last 5 years, every time you don't have to pull out all the papers from the records, everything can be in the computer, in the digital. The moment the patient comes and sit in front of the doctor can click on the computer and get all the medical history, historical data from there. So that will help in the diagnosis, everything. So there are plenty of application for artificial intelligence in the healthcare division. For this, I'm talking about the smaller clinics. The only thing what you need is the data the data should be in computer. If your patient record is in a file in a cupboard, you cannot do that. But it should be your X-ray report should be in the computer. Your scanning reports should be in the computer. Your patient all the test reports should be in a computer. All that should be in a computer, and then you can get all that data in the big data platform and then build artificial intelligence. So, and again, in the healthcare division, there are some legal requirements are there in terms of data privacy, data security. So even in bank, we have that. So the confidential data will be encrypted. The data cannot be shared with somebody else. So if you are familiar, if you all of you know about the Sprinkler case, right? So that was about the data privacy and data security. So it's very much there are government laws there in place. So we need to comply to that, but it is possible in the healthcare sector. So it should be applied in every our hospitals, medical colleges, and even the smaller clinics. So it should be done. So that's the future.
Again, a question related to the healthcare sector from Praveen Shashidharan. How can AI be used to forecast in decision making and during black swan events like, say, a pandemic? Because AI basically relies on historical data. In these cases, like say a COVID challenge, how can AI be effective?
Yeah, so see, AI can be effective only if there is data. So why AI could not help much in COVID is because COVID was new and there was no historical data, right? So that's why many people, if you read the news and all, there were many people, even in India, IIT, I think IIT Kharagpur came up with some prediction and all, but the problem is the prediction was not accurate because the historical data was not there. But now we have the data, COVID data for more than a year and all, then they will be able to come up with better predictions. So in any sector, if you don't have the data, AI cannot work. So it's all about AI is into it's a data analytics. So it is computer is analyzing the data and understanding the internal the relationships, the patterns, and the predicting it in a statistical prediction. So it's all about the data. So if the data is not there, it's difficult. So even in healthcare also. So what IBM Watson is doing is it is helping in the diagnosis. So what it does is you can train this machine using millions of patient data, millions of journals, and millions of international studies and all these papers, everything. And so so the IBM Watson is learning all that. And then the moment you go to, if you're a patient, you go to this hospital and you say that, okay, I have these symptoms, and then you do some ECG or scanning or X-ray, all that, and then the computer will be able to interpret that in better than a doctor. And then the computer has all this historical data about similar symptoms and similar similar history, and what kind of treatment was done world over, and how the treatment was done. So all this data it will take, and then the Watson will give the recommendation to the doctor saying that, okay, this is the this could be the disease. So the doctor will be able to diagnose the patient better. So his level of his chances of making a mistake is less. And then again, the doctor, the IBM Watson, the AI, artificial intelligence will go through all the cases, the published journals, the published cases for similar diseases, and say that, okay, this particular disease, so many people were treated this way, this was the medicine given, this was the treatment given, all that with that, all that information, the Watson will give the suggested, recommended treatment to the doctor, and then the doctor will take the final decision. That's how the IBM Watson works. Okay, so it will help in all this. So, but in all these cases, you need the historical. So IBM Watson cannot work on its own without all this data. So IBM Watson is developing this intelligence by learning from all these millions of historical data. So it's a big journey there.
I think Mr. Francis Joseph has a question. Can you go ahead,
hello.
Mr. Francis? Yeah.
Hello, it's excellent presentation. It's not actually a question, a suggestion. I don't know who can take up, whoever is possible have to take, especially when you are talking about health sector. You see, India population is a largeable size compared to world population. And we are supposed to have immense data in health sector, like many other things. So, but coming to health sector, what I'm telling, India still, I don't think there is a integrated data, patient data put in a digital system as a nation. See, connecting all hospitals, government hospitals, private hospitals, small hospitals, and even private doctors. So it is high time we should develop that as a nation-wise. Then I think our artificial intelligence can do wonders there. Now, the artificial intelligence has got a good potential, but somehow this is a barrier in health sector. That is what I feel. But you can give your expert advice.
Yeah, it's very much it's an excellent solution and it's excellent suggestion. So I would say we should take it in a phased manner. Before the final destination should be you connect all the hospitals in the nation, everything and all. But before reaching that, even in Kerala, we can we have say how many medical colleges are there in under the Kerala government. It is not connected, right? The doctors are not connected. Say for example, you go if you are a patient and you go to Kottayam Medical College with some disease. And if that particular, for that particular disease, if that doctor is not there, we have no information if a better doctor is available in the Trichy Medical College or Calicut Medical College or Trivandrum Medical College. We have no information. If it is connected, we can even get a telephonic suggestion or a guidance from another doctor if a critical case is coming there. Another case is, say for example, every hospital has ambulances, right? So every small hospital has an ambulance. So for example, if suddenly an accident happens, a road accident happens, and if there is a mobile app available with artificial intelligence, say for example, in Cochin MG Road, there is an accident happening, immediately somebody can look through and see that which is the nearby ambulance, right? So it need not be a particular hospital, right? So it can be any hospital. So if it is all ambulances are connected, and immediately the nearby ambulance can reach that person, and you can just book that. Anybody with a mobile app can book that nearby, find the nearby ambulance and notify them and get the ambulance immediately, instead of calling a faraway hospital and then that hospital ambulance may be engaged in somewhere else. Then the patient, you lose the patient's life. So every minute is lost there. So there are plenty of options, opportunities in this, but unfortunately, so these are all we can do it at government level and even private level. So we have plenty of private hospitals. Why not the private hospitals? Of course, to get into the government level, it needs a different political route and all, but that may take more time. But I would say even the private hospitals, why not apply artificial intelligence? You can optimize your operations. You can optimize your, say for example, insurance claims, right? The moment a testing is done, the moment a billing is done, why you want to wait till the patient is discharged? Say a patient is admitted in a hospital for 1 week or 2 weeks, and how the insurance is done after the discharge, then you give the full set of bills, and then he will start filling up the forms, and then it's a very laborious thing. Why you have to do that? You don't have to. The moment a X-ray is done, the moment a test is done, the moment a surgery is done, the bill can be fed to the system, and it can be immediately loaded to the insurance thing. And at the time of discharge, immediately the claim can be approved there, then and there. It can be very smooth. The patient can immediately walk out. Right? I'm just giving some kind of examples. And another case is, for example, the doctor's appointment. Every patient will call the doctor and then come and wait. For the, so you take an appointment for 11 o'clock in the morning, and you come there, and then by 10:30, and then you understand that there are another 10 patients waiting because the doctor was late or doctor was busy in a surgery. Then you wait till 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and this person may be coming into the hospital taking a leave. Why we want to do that? If it is real time using artificial intelligence, if there is a delay in his queue, he need not come at 10:30. If he know that, okay, his appointment is moved from 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the afternoon because the doctor was busy with something, he need not take the morning leave from his office. He know that it is 2:30, he can reach the hospital at 2:15. Right? So these are all things which we don't need to depend on the government and all. It can be done by the private hospital. So what I mean is there are plenty of, so connecting all the hospitals at the nation level is it's a very long, very big thing which we can reach, achieve probably after a lot of effort. But before that, there are small, plenty of opportunities and plenty of options which we should be doing in the healthcare sector, both private and government. Government getting it done is not easy, but people should be starting with the private hospitals. Okay. So it's an excellent suggestion, Francis. Thanks for that. So I hope people who are listening to this, if you are, I'm sure that some of you may be connected with hospitals, or some of you may be connected with the political leaders or the government authorities. So we should push for this. Okay.
One last question we had is from Mr. Shaji. Is image-based AI more demanding?
Yeah, so AI in itself is a technology. So there is video analytics, there is photo image analytics, there is text analytics, everything is there. So what you use is going to be, it all depends on what is the business problem you are trying to solve. Okay. So if you are trying to understand the customer sentiment from the social media, you will probably do a text analytics. So you go through the websites and go through your feedback, complaints, everything, and run an NLP solution using text analytics. And video analytics, we have built the video analytics solution for our bank. We take the CCTV video and then identify who are the customers coming in and every branch. And if you are so in bank, we have this concept. Those who are in banking will know that you have concept of preferred customer, prime customers, and the mass customer. So if you are a person with a rich person and you are doing big business with the bank, you will get a relationship manager and you are called a preferred customer. So we identify we have this CCTV feed, which is artificial intelligence is analyzing, and the moment a preferred customer is coming into the branch, he need not wait in the queue, he need not take a token, and immediately the manager will get the notification saying that so and so preferred customer is coming in, and then immediately the relationship manager will reach out to him. So that's a kind of service. We don't have it in India, but we are giving it that in our other countries. So that's a video analytics. So what I mean is each of this technology, the capabilities are there, but what you want to do depend on that. Take the right technology, right? So it all depends on, so it's all driven by the business. So what business problem you are trying to solve, and based on that you decide which technology you want to use, whether you want to take video analytics or you want to take predictive analytics or machine learning or neural networks. It all depends on driven by the business.
Absolutely. We just run out of time. If the participants have any more questions, you can reach out to the TIE Secretariat. We'll also be sharing Mr. Matthew's email ID and contact details very soon. Thank you, Mr. Matthew, for that very engaging and insightful session. I'm sure there have been many takeaways for the participants from the interaction. AI will definitely be an essential business driver for the various sectors, including financial services in the next couple of years. It does come with challenges such as data quality and access to data, and again, competent talent to manage some of these data. But at least to say it is very important, and hope we'll be able to address some of these challenges in coming year. Once again, thank you for taking your time to address our participants. We will probably have the recordings of this session in our YouTube channel. Do take a look. As Mr. Matthew mentioned, we also have a LinkedIn feed, basically, which I have shared now in the chat window. Please take your time to give your feedbacks in this link, which will be useful for us in our future programs. Thank you. Thank you all for taking time and joining this session. We have a very interesting session coming up next weekend. It's a member mixer. We usually do it in a physical format, and it used to be very successful. We are trying a virtual model this next weekend. Details of this will be shared with all the members in the coming days. Please do try to join. Thank you again. Good evening to all of you. And
Thank
take
you
care.
very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So thank you very much.
Sure.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Good night.
Thank you, Mr. Matthew.